Alright guys, so it's been a couple of days since I started this video. I put these shades on because yeah, the sun is beaming. I'm not complaining. When you live like me, I live in New England, and you're all winter stuck in the house and everything's cold, and you know, once it warms up, like not right now it's like 64 degrees. This is like spring. It feels amazing. So I'm out here since the moment when I said I was gonna wait to the following day to start getting the this Matchbox stripped for paint. Unfortunately, something happened. So yeah, I'm trying to make this video short, not too long. So I was gonna show you guys how to drill into the little studs. So once you open it, you have to drill right through these studs, and then I'm gonna use the tap uh, bit to do the actual threads in order to be able to screw the Hot Wheel back shut. Unfortunately, I was waiting for some tap bits because mine has snapped, not because they're poor quality, but because I messed up on a custom I was making. Alright, so this the tool where you put it so you could, do the threads on the Hot Wheel Matchbox or whatever that case. And this is the actual bit, which is snapped. Now, I'm gonna show you guys what it's supposed to look like. As I ordered two, and they arrived yesterday, which I'm pretty hyped. This is what it should look like. And this is the one that snapped on me. Big difference. I've learned by experience. One of the things you have to remember or remind yourself to do is to do the drilling and the threads on the stud before you paint the car. Reason why: some of this paint dries real fast, real quick. A couple hours. Or if you want to let it sit for I like to let them sit for 24 hours, a day or two to make a cure. Still yet, because it's a smaller vehicle, whatever. If you paint it and then you decide to start drilling or whatever, you're gonna hold on to the car. You're gonna put a certain amount of pressure in order, to start drilling. You know what I'm saying? So what's gonna happen? You're putting pressure on it. Your fingerprints and all your handprints are gonna get all over the paint. It's possible. So I learned the hard way. So I did a car. I painted it first before I did the drilling. And then I figured, man, I don't want to hold it on, hold the car itself with my hands and drill it. So I went and I grabbed a set of pliers, and I was holding on. I'm going to use these dice these wire cutters to show you. So I was trying to hold it like this, right, while I was drilling. I was putting too much pressure. This metal, literally, if I squeeze it, I'm going to bend it. So what happened is that when I was holding it with a lot of pressure, while I'm drilling, or not drilling, while I'm using the tap bit to do the threads, once I'm squeezing this, now this is not round anymore. It's kind of oval because I squeezed it. So in other words, as it went in and I'm pulling it out, it got stuck in there because I'm pinching it I was pinching it with the actual with the set of pliers. And what happened? It snapped in there. Well, on the other car, which I had to throw away, because not throw away, but had to discard it for now, because now I don't have the little stud there in order to put it back together. So don't do that mistake. Do the drilling and the threads before you even paint the car. Believe me. So thankfully, I ordered two of these just to be on the safe side. And I ordered some axles. I don't want to get into detail with the axles because I'm going to have to do a different video on one. There's 3 to 4 different ways to do the axles. You could just do swap a set of wheels from another car and just leave it like that. You're just popping the wheels in. Then there's these They are from the same place I ordered. You could order these, where it's the actual axle, or let's say the differential, and then separate axles, and you don't even in a certain way, you don't even have to open the car. If you don't want to do an open it up and you just want to do a wheel swap, this will come in handy. You don't even have to open the car. But like I said, I'm going to do a separate video showing you guys how I do it. There's tons of video out on YouTube from other customizers, but there's like 3 or 4 different ways you could or different axles you could use. So anyways, I am going to show you guys the mistake I did. So I started drilling on this side, right? I was trying to drill a hole just and do the thread on one side to try to make this video shorter, but now it might end up being longer than I thought. And then I was gonna show you guys what it looked like, and then I was gonna do one now so you guys have an idea. Well, since this tap bit was already cracked or snapped in half, now it's sort of a bit more brittle than it should. I was able to do all the threads, and as I am threading or taking it out, it snapped in there. Now that's a big problem because I can't discard this car. You know, I might be able to find one on YouTube, or I mean on YouTube, on eBay, but this is way back in 1975. Like, I don't want to mess this up. So I was going kind of crazy, just brainstorming on how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna save this casting. So this is a real good tool if you really want to get into customizing. I'm gonna do a video showing you guys how I customize a 4-door Jeep Wrangler, where I cut the doors off and stuff. This is called, I believe, a jeweler's saw, and this comes in very handy. This actually saved my life, and I was able to save this. I'm going to show you guys. That's the stud on the front end, and that's what the stud from the back end. It is probably half the size now. So I had to figure out how to get that piece of tap bit in there out without having to cut this hole. Because if I would have cut this whole stud, I don't know what I would have had to do. I probably used a whole bunch of glue to put the car back together, and it's unacceptable on a vintage diecast. So I was able, and I got little pieces in here of when I took it out right there. So the tap bit is in there. I gotta find a way to actually get a hold of it. So let's say my hand is the actual, let's pretend my hand is the actual stud, and this is the little piece of the bit that was showing off. It wasn't much. I couldn't even grab it with this to spin it. So now what I had to do was cut around it, a little ring around it, so now more of it was exposed. Good thing is there was not much in there, so when I cut around, the whole bit came off, and I still have enough for maybe half the screw to be in there, but it'll still be tight. So I'm hoping that it works just like that. So I'm going to show you guys real quick. As a matter of fact, let me spin the camera around so you guys have a better view on how to do this. It's no rocket science. So all right, so here's a little drill bit, which is about just the size of the screw that actually comes with the kit. So as you can see, I went in there, goes in there. You gotta make sure that you don't go all the way through. You just gotta go by, stop, and look. But now this one has been untouched. If you guys want to make sure you guys don't go too far, you guys could always just go like this and grab a Sharpie and mark the actual drill bit. And now you know how far you could go. You just don't want to go all the way across. And that's what I'm about to do right now. Let's drill this real quick, little by little, and you guys will see the little metal shavings fall off. So yeah, let me put this on time lapse. Alright guys, so this is some of the metal shavings. Sometimes I tend to hold it with my hands to get it started, but it's good where you have, you know, a solid spot. You just hold it. Just go little by little, you know, like this. I think I went deep enough. Make sure you clean the drill bit, go little by little. And it should be deep enough. Now we're going to the part where I grab my brand new tap bit. Make sure you guys have a pair of pliers or something to tighten this real good. I'm using this, which is not meant for this, but see if, make sure it's kind of tight. And it's pretty much just get it right there started. Gotta try to twist your hand counterclockwise, and then just kind of like get started until it starts biting in there, right? Like it did right there. Just little by little, a couple turns at a time. If it gets kind of tight, you just back up a little bit. There's any way you could grab a Q-tip or something, soak it, or somehow throw a couple drops of any lubricant in there. It helps the actual tap bit to go in there smoother. It got tight there. Let's go half a turn, another half a turn. Got a little tight, little by little. Don't rush it, just little by little. Now, I mean, there's some times where I don't actually drill it deep enough, and you'll find out by actually putting the actual chassis back together, or the base, and trying to screw the put the screw in. If you see a gap, now you know you have to beat or go just a tap bit deeper. Other than that, this looks good. This one, as I cut it, it has a bit of thread, but not much. Let's do this. I don't have to go too crazy because it's not as deep. And there's gonna be a gap now in between because I only have half of the stud in there. I'm hoping this works. If not, then I guess I might have to go on eBay and try to find another one of these, although I don't want to. Oh, come on. I got pudgy hands. Learned that from Kevin Hart. Takes a lot of patience. All right. I think that's enough there, because remember, half of the stud is missing. Grab one more screw just to make sure the threads screws in nice and neat and nice and smooth, just like that. Now we got to find out if when I put the actual base back on, if it'll close nice and the screws will be nice and flush, which I am very much looking forward to that. Which I don't think so. So now right here, there's an actual gap in between the base and the screw. That means I gotta go in just a tad bit deeper. So now I have to work on this one, which is perfect that I'm doing this, because now you guys will know what to do in case you actually drill. You thought you went deep enough, and then when you put the base, the screw's still popping out. Easy. Just take it out. You're not gonna mess up much by doing this. but you don't want to go all the way through. Got some of it out. I go little by little. Like I said, it takes a lot of patience to do this. You know, it's always good to just grab, you know, if you have kids, or if you are a kid and have some old Hot Wheels beat around, scratched up, axles all bent, listen, you can bring those Hot Wheels back to life. Keep your mind distracted, especially now with this whole virus pandemic going on, the coronavirus. You gotta keep yourself a bit busy. There we go. It takes time, it takes time, it takes time. Make sure all that debris is out. It's a trial and error kind of deal. And perfect. Went deep enough to now it's actually flushed. Now that I've done that, now you see how neat that looks? Looks like a ribbon. So that's pretty much sealed. Now we're gonna get to the part where I start stripping the paint off of this thing. I'm gonna put this aside. Use the same screws. Not that I don't have enough screws, but oh yeah. So what I'm going to do is get my Dremel tool ready. Bought this. I'm gonna use a new wire brush. So let me set this up. Alright guys, so I got my Dremel tool ready. You guys wanna make sure you guys have eye protection. I had one of those aprons or whatever, but at this point it doesn't matter. This is why I chose to come outside, and it's because of the mess it might make using this to actually strip the paint off of the car. Now I could use some paint remover. I don't want to mess with that stuff right now because it takes a little longer. You gotta let it sit. I don't have nitro gloves in order to mess with that paint remover, that stripper, because you don't want to get that in your hands or on your hands. So this is what a new one looks like, and this is the one that's been used, meaning as it's doing its job and you're grinding, these little things tend to like come off just in tiny little pieces as it's grinding. You know, they break off. And if you guys ever had any kind of like splinters like from wood, these little metals are even worse because they're so tiny you can't even see them, and as tiny as they are, it's a pain in the rear end, and you don't want to get one of these little pieces of little wire in your eyes. That's the last thing you need right now, is to have to go to the emergency room or for something like that, especially with the whole virus thing going on. You want to avoid this. So an apron, I'm doing this outside. If you have a spot in the house, a table, whatever, but this is gonna get all over the place. Like I said, that's why I chose to do it outside. So you can use paint remover, or I'm gonna try this out. It's gonna get a little loud. On these Dremels, you can adjust the RPMs. So I'm gonna put it on time lapse because I don't want to take too long. Alright guys, so for the most part, got the paint out. It's kind of like killing two birds with one stone, because I was thinking about using the actual paint remover and then use this to smooth down the surface. It does take a while, so I shouldn't be rushing. I really wanted to get this video out sooner than later, But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw some use some paint remover on it, let it sit for 15-20 minutes, and then once I get all the rest of this paint out, then I'll clean it and I'll hit it with whatever's left of this brush just to smooth it down. Meanwhile, right now I'm gonna actually hit this with the wire brush or whatever's left of it, just to kind of get it shiny, get it that shiny, then polish it maybe, and throw a clear coat just to keep it nice and looking clean like this. So yeah, let's do this. Alright guys, for the most part, the front end looks shiny, tail lights look sort of shiny, and I was able to, you know, take some of that oxidation and all that grime and stuff for years has been there. I'll just let the now maybe I could just hit it with the scuff pad, and I haven't taken these wheels out because I wanted to show you the method I'm gonna use. I could actually grind this right there, or try to pry it open, and this whole thing is gonna come out. But since I ordered the actual axles that come, or this is like a differential and or a 3-piece axle, if I may, come in here, then I don't need to pry this open, because I'll just slide the actual differential or axle in there, and then the individual axles from the outside, without having to compromise this and kind of leave it semi factory. So what I could do is use these wire cutters, which is what I brought them out for, and just go, if I can reach, I was able to nib it a bit there. Now don't throw these away, although I already dropped them. It's good to actually keep these halves, the actual, although you cut them in half, they come in handy, because I'm going to show you guys a trick on, this is one of the other methods I use for an axle when I do a custom. So don't throw them away. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab these and put them in here, because this is where all my wheels and some of the axles, I keep them separated, put them in there. So now I'm just going to smother this with some paint remover, and I'll continue with it tomorrow. Sorry guys, I really tried to keep this video short, but when you want to do quality work, it takes a little longer. So yeah, let's do this.